In 1624, they buried her alive beneath the old fort. Chains, silver, a blade through the heart. They thought that would hold her. They were wrong. My name is Marcus Webb, third-generation caretaker of Fort Charlotte in Nassau, Bahamas. The fort has stood since 1788, built on the ruins of an older Spanish stronghold. Limestone walls, underground dungeons, tourist attraction by day. But beneath the central courtyard, under layers of coral stone, there's a sealed chamber nobody talks about, until the restoration project in 2023. We were reinforcing the foundation when the crew hit something that shouldn't exist. Not coral, not wood, iron. A massive iron door, 8 feet tall, welded shut with chains thicker than ship anchors. Carved into it, here rests Ayiti Moreau, drinker of life, 1624. Below that, in 3 languages, break this seal and the huntress walks again. The Historical Society wanted it documented quietly. The Tourism Board said, open it for content. Greed won. They brought in engineers, cut through the chains with industrial torches, pried the door open. Inside was a stone casket, black volcanic rock, bound in tarnished silver chains. No moisture, no insects, no natural decay. When they lifted the lid, there she was, a black woman, maybe 30, skin like midnight, braided hair, still perfect, wearing torn remnants of a Caribbean merchant's coat, arms crossed over her chest, an obsidian blade driven through her heart. But here's what made everyone's blood freeze. Her chest rose with breath. Her eyes opened, gold like a cat's, and she laughed. The foreman, Big Tommy, dropped his crowbar. The security camera caught everything. Ayiti Moreau sat up smoothly, the blade still embedded in her ribs. She gripped it with both hands and slid it out like pulling a sword from its sheath. The wound sealed instantly, no scar. Then she spoke, voice like silk wrapped around broken glass. 4 centuries. You finally grew curious. Accent was French Creole, mixed with something older, maybe Taino. She told us her story while we stood paralyzed. Born 1590 in what the Spanish called Hispaniola, daughter of a maroon leader and an escaped African priestess. At 27, she led raids against slave ships, killed a Spanish captain, drank his blood in front of his crew, not out of madness, out of message. Word spread across the Caribbean. A demon hunted slavers. They finally caught her in 1624, using silver nets and starvation. But she wouldn't die. Fire didn't work. Drowning didn't work. So the Spanish governor declared her something unholy. They chained her, drove the sacred blade through her heart, sealed her in the fort's foundation. Buried under sanctified ground with prayers in 3 languages, she slept until we freed her. That night, 2 security guards vanished, found the next morning in the dungeon, pale as bone, throats opened cleanly, completely drained. Ayiti was standing in my office, wearing stolen tourist clothes, reading our historical plaques with disgust. She said, I don't need your forgiveness, keeper. I need what I'm owed. Every bloodline that profited from those ships owes me a tithe. She had records, family names, ship manifests, property deeds, all from the old Spanish archives we thought were lost. She knew exactly who descended from whom. The police came, Interpol, even some specialist from the Vatican's archives division. None of it mattered. Cameras went static when she passed. Bullets hit the wall behind her without touching skin. Tasers did nothing. She only hunted those on her list, one by one, always at night, always leaving them bloodless, arranging their bodies to face the ocean like they were watching for shits. After 47 deaths across 3 islands, the list ended. Then she returned to the fort, stood in the center of the courtyard at dawn, in front of terrified witnesses, said, "The debt is settled, but I'm not going back in the ground." She walked into the sunrise, didn't burn, just disappeared down Bay Street like smoke. The fort sealed the chamber with concrete, installed new security, held a cleansing ceremony with elders from 3 traditions. But every new moon since, people swear they see her, standing on the fort walls at midnight, watching the harbor, waiting. Some say she's hunting new names. Others say she's just enjoying the view of a free Caribbean. I quit last month. Couldn't work in that place anymore. But before I left, I found something in the old records room. A note in Ayiti's handwriting, pinned to the historical map. It read, "Thank you for the door, keeper. Next time someone disturbs a grave, make sure they know what was buried and why." So if you ever visit an old Caribbean fort and feel eyes on you from empty ramparts during the tour, look up at the walls. If you see a woman in the shadows with eyes like molten gold, leave quickly. Don't take pictures. Because some tombs aren't meant to be opened, and some vengeance is 400 years patient.